By the way, I don't know if you saw this, Governor Greg Abbott, Republicans are tripping over each other to try to be Donald Trump now, getting ready for the 2024 presidential election. Everybody is trying to sound like the pumpkin. All right, we're going to get pumpkin, the return of the pumpkin, but it'll be a different pumpkin. It's like Return of Chucky. I mean, now I'm thinking this guy's Chucky, like this evil doll guy, right? We're going to get the return of him in a different person. So everybody is like auditioning now to be pumpkin. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he is auditioning. All right, they feel Texas did well during the pandemic. Perhaps he's going to run for president. He announced on Thursday that the state of Texas is going to start building its own border wall. Now, this border wall is more like a fence than a wall. He's calling it a wall, but the state of Texas is going to appropriate $1 billion for border wall. Laredo Mayor Saenz said he was present for the summit session when Governor Greg Abbott announced this on Thursday and included local elected officials, and said his impression was that Abbott's border wall is more kind of like a fence than a wall. But he said he did not go into details of how and when this border wall is going to be built. He's just saying border wall. You see, everyone's just trying to be Trump.
Right.
Everyone's just trying to be Trump. We're going to build a wall. The state of Texas is going to build it now. All right? Does absolutely nothing for anybody. Meanwhile, talking about border walls, Donald Trump's border wall that Mexico was going to pay for. Turns out Mexico didn't pay a penny. You know who paid? The United States taxpayer paid $46 million per mile. He built a total of 52 miles over 4 years. A beautiful wall spanning from the Gulf of Mexico to the Pacific Ocean, spanning 1, 2, 3, 4 huge states, all built by Mexico. In the end, it was 52 miles and $46 million a mile. What a waste of energy, time, money, discussion. 52 miles. I noticed that every time during our schmooze, right as I start talking about the pumpkin, somebody's phone is going off, man. I think it's this guy calling to argue with me. $2 billion, by the way, that was apportioned, that has not been used yet to build the wall. Biden is bringing it back to the military to give to the U.S. military. I don't know what the U.S. military is going to do with it. We should take the $2 billion, how about, and give it back to the people, the taxpayer. What the hell does the military need it for? We have enough money giving to the military. Apparently, the funding is going to go to missile field expansion in Alaska, like we don't have enough missiles. $25 million for a radio complex in North Carolina. We don't have enough radio frequency. We have NASA listening to radio frequency in other galaxies. We don't have enough yet, though. And $79 million to upgrade an elementary school for U.S. military children in Germany. Okay, that's okay. Lara Trump has urged those living on the southern U.S. border to, quote, arm up. Lara Trump is the wife of Stupid Eric. Waiting now for Stupid Eric to give us a call. Whose phone's going off with Stupid Eric calling next to argue with me? All right, Stupid Eric's wife says everyone needs to arm up because Joe Biden's not doing anything about migrants running across the border here from Mexico to the United States. Now, her comments were met rightfully with outrage. Former President Trump's daughter-in-law, she was discussing Joe Biden's, quote, disgraceful plans for border security. She says, I don't know what you tell the people who live at the southern border. I guess they better arm up and get guns and be ready, and maybe they're going to have to start taking matters into their own hands. Interestingly enough, most people, a huge majority of people who live on the Texas border actually don't want a border wall and get along well with their neighbors in Mexico. So this is not playing for the people on the border. This is playing for the people like in Iowa who's never met an immigrant in their life, who's terrified of immigrants. And obviously it's so irresponsible anyway, because if you remember in 2019, a gunman killed 23 people in El Paso, Texas, Walmart. And the shooter posted a racist manifesto online before the attack, admitting he was trying to target Mexicans. And by the way, this goes back to everybody's trying to be the pumpkin, Yo-Yo and Vanessa.
Uh-huh.
All right? You don't think Lara Trump, she's the smart one in the marriage between her and Eric. You don't think she's taking a playbook out of the pumpkin? You want to know why? Because she's being talked up to run for senator in North Carolina. They know what works. Beat Trump. Beat Trump, you get nominated to be the Republican nominee. You may not win. Right. But you're going to be the nominee, that is for sure. And as Lara Trump is telling everybody to arm up on the southern border, there was an additional 4 mass shootings in 6 hours over the weekend, leaving 38 wounded and 6 dead.
Sheesh.
You know, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Crazy.
Yeah.
But you know, as I just said, you ever see the Chris Rock special from years ago when he said he had an answer? He said, give everybody all the guns they want. Just make the bullets $5,000 a bullet. You're going to think twice before you shoot somebody. You're like, damn, that's $5,000. Maybe I won't shoot the person. And then if you do shoot him, this is Chris Rock, the guy who shoots him is going to go with the victim to the hospital to try to get his bullet back. It's $5,000. They'll arrest him. Isn't that smart, Chris Rock?
That's a great idea.
Make the bullets expensive. Nobody will want to use them. That's the gun violence in the United States of America. We'll keep talking about it until somebody does something.
It seems like, you know, within the past couple of weeks, especially when we came back, we've really been talking about a lot of the mass shootings. And like you said, I don't really hear about these until like now we talk about it. And you said, you know, they won't really say anything about it to major networks until it's like a super, super big one or a lot of people died. It's considered a mass shooting if it's what, like 4 people?
4 people injured. 4 people injured. And you know what? And that's not even a mass shooting anymore. 4 people injured, nobody cares. Go about your day.
Nobody cares.
And by the way, that's even me. You know, I see in the news, 4 people injured. I go about my day too. I'm so sanitized from it.
That's horrible.
Right? You see, 4 people injured. You keep going. The only time you stop is if you say, oh man, I've been there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? Like I will tell you, there was
true.
a shooting in Palm Beach at a grocery store in Palm Beach. And I stopped because I've been to Palm Beach. And I said, wait, have I been to that grocery store? I wasn't, but I stopped to read about it because...
you stopped?
Right, but if it was a grocery store in Tennessee, I've never stepped foot in Tennessee in my life. Not that I don't want to go to Tennessee. I would love to go to Tennessee. I just haven't had a chance yet. I don't know if I saw 4 people injured in a grocery store shooting in Tennessee. I'd read the headline and go, damn, but move on.
Right.
In Cornwall, England, the group of 7, you know who the group of 7 are?
No, I don't.
You have no idea. Do you know anybody in that picture? Joe Biden is in that picture. Very good. Very good.
Joe Biden.
The G7 is the 7 largest economies, democratically elected government economies, meaning that the 7 economies of the world, from the largest 7 economies of the world, from countries that elect their leaders democratically. So it would be United States, Canada, Italy, France, Great Britain, Germany, Japan, G7. And they meet.
Like a superhero team.
They meet. In the last 4 years has been very contentious because Trump wanted the United States to do it alone. And he felt America first, America first. If the idea, honest, and Biden's coming back and now doing this as a group, you know, with all the democratically elected countries, with NATO, to try to bolster these countries against the autocracies of China and Russia. And if your idea is that you want to be the leader of the world and, you know, you don't want to shrink back and just close the bubble and nobody bothers you type of thing, which is, you know, America first. United States, as much as everybody thinks, cannot compete one-on-one with China. You want to know why?
Why?
Because 1 out of 4 people in the world live in China.
It's true.
So 1 out of 4 people in the world live in China. It is impossible to go America first. We're going to compete with China. Just don't have the number of people.
Outnumbered.
We're outnumbered. We are completely outnumbered. Okay? So the only way we compete is with all of our allies. So if you say, okay, the 7 largest economies of democratically elected countries stick together, work together, well then, yeah, maybe you got a chance. So I don't go for this America first. That's BS. Because we lose when America goes first.
Not Biden.
Right, correct. Right. Correct. America's allies were visibly relieved to have the United States back as an engaged international player after the America First policy of the Trump administration. Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, who, by the way, Trump liked this guy. This is one of Trump's favorite guys. He said Biden was a breath of fresh air. And it was a lot different than in 2017 when Trump showed up to one of these meetings. It was a NATO meeting. And remember, he pushed the Prime Minister of Montenegro out of the way, Duško Marković, just to get the photo op. And then there was another famous photo of him pointing his finger at the Prime Minister of Germany and standing on top of her and yelling at her. And it was a very, very rough ride. The G7 backed a minimum tax of at least 15% on multinational corporations. They have agreed to offer financing for infrastructure to help speed up the global shift to renewable energy. For the first time in 4 or 5 years, seems like they were working together to solve the world's problems, at least.
I know it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we got a 4th vaccine now, Vanessa. You're going to have your choice of 4 now, soon.
Look at me.
Ha! Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Right. If you hold out long enough, you could be like the last person vaccinated on Earth. Novavax, a small company supported by the United States government, announced today that the results of a clinical trial of its COVID-19 vaccine in the United States and Mexico found that its 2-shot inoculation provides potent protection, 90.4% efficacy rate, and a 100% efficacy at preventing moderate and severe illness. They all do different things. It's funny. The Moderna and Pfizer use this mRNA, which takes some sort of derivative of your DNA and delivers it to the spot where you're supposed to be able to, I don't know, understand all of this, but uses somehow your DNA to deliver it somewhere. The Johnson & Johnson was your old, and AstraZeneca was your old typical vaccine that would inject skeletal version of the virus, and you would get your immunity that way. And this Novavax, they're using proteins to deliver whatever this protein does to cause your body to build its immunities. Every one of these is doing it a little differently. Now, in the United States, they're not going to really, even though the United States bought 100 million doses of Novavax, we really don't need it here in the United States because we're getting a glut of vaccines. So most likely the Novavax at the start is going to go to other places around the world that require the vaccine. What I've been reading about Novavax, though, is that they believe that the Novavax works against the Delta variant much stronger than some of the other vaccines. So when and if there would be a booster, it is possible that we would mix and match vaccines and do one from Novavax and one from somewhere else as well. But they haven't decided yet.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
I'm happy I just got mine done and out of the way.
That's why Vanessa's staying on the sidelines. It's a lot to take in.
I mean, at least she has options now.
Right. Now, Vanessa, is it because it's a lot to take in, or is it just a little lackadaisical, or a little of both?
A little of both. I think it's just a lack of actually getting up and figuring out where it is and which one and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And
let me make it very simple. You can go to the drugstore now and do it. It really doesn't matter which one you take. They all do the same thing. They prevent you from dying.
Got it.
It's very simple. Simple. You go to the drugstore, you're like, I don't want to die. Can I get a vaccine, please?
Right.
The annual Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show was held on Sunday, and the winner for Best in Show is, Julian, drum roll please, a Pekingese named Wasabi. There he is. The runner-up was given to Bourbon the Whippet. Do you like the Pekingese? Yeah. Let's take a look at the Pekingese. That looks like a pillow on my couch, right?
It does. Like very fuzzy.
Like a dust bunny.
Now, do you like that dog, or you want something bigger?
I want something bigger.
You would not want Wasabi, the Pekingese. No. Vanessa, would you take Wasabi, the Pekingese?
I'd see what the runner-up is like, you know.
Yeah, I want something a little more ferocious. Something coming out of its mouth over here, like, you know, scare the neighbors.
Like a dog.
Yeah, don't be coming over here to borrow any milk, because Wasabi's gonna get you.
Yeah, Wasabi definitely won't scare the neighbors.
Yeah, I need somebody to scare the neighbors a little bit. This dog's not scaring anybody.
Look at it, it's a cute doggy.
How does a dog like that survive in the wilderness? That dog wouldn't make it a day in the wilderness. Wasabi.
Yeah.
You think Wasabi would make it a day to be like, where's my beautician? You know, because they sit there and you know.
It's got a spicy name though.
Yes,
Wasabi.
It does. Yes. Now the winner was announced at 11 p.m. Sunday. People were staying up late at night to find out who was going to win this one. It is also, by the way, the Westminster not only is the oldest, but it is the longest nationally televised live dog show, according to the Westminster Club.
Aww.
How old is Wasabi, by the way? You ask, Yo-Yo, because I know you're asking. You were curious how old? 3 years old. 1 in 3 Americans think their pet is training them to become a better parent.
Oh.
Yes, a recent survey conducted by OnePoll and commissioned by AskVet of 2,000 American cat and dog owners recently learned that 1 in 3 people believe their pet will make them a better parent one day, and that the typical pet owner spends $176 on supplies and adoption fees to bring their furry friend home, and another $111 per month. That adds up to $13,000 a year. That adds up to $13,000 in 10 years, the average lifespan of dogs. So you can spend about $1,300 to $1,500 a year on your dog. But they make you a better parent when it's time
I feel like they're more
for
expensive.
you to be no, babies are more money. Children are more money than dogs.
No, I'm saying a dog a year. I thought that it would be more than like $1,300 a year.
Yeah, well, I think you're thinking New York City prices. This is the United States. But in New York City, yeah, probably more.
Very true.
So, do you think, Vanessa, that if you had an animal, it would make you a better parent when you have a child?
I mean, I guess it would teach a sense of responsibility for something other than myself. But I don't know if it really is the deal breaker to whether I'm going to be a parent or not.
I think it definitely helps train you. Just like you're training your dog, it trains you. You know, you have to take care of it when it gets sick. You care for it. So yeah, I feel like it would be a good start to practice, before you have a child.
Well, 45% of pet parents actively worry that their pet's going to get sick or hurt, and 33%, 1 out of 3 pet parents are worried that their dog or cat is unhappy, worried about their emotional state.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the first hot day of the summer, a kind dog gave a stranded animal a lift back to shore.
Oh,
yes.
I saw this.
Lauren Lind and her husband took their 2-year-old golden retriever Wally to cool off. The family rowed their canoe out to one of the islands in Hickory Hills Lake in Lunenburg, Massachusetts. Lind told the dodo, Wally loves to swim, and once he jumped in the water, it's almost impossible to get him out. Usually we'll throw him sticks or his ball to chase, but he'll also just swim around in circles by himself, which is funny. And he got a little shark life vest that he wears. Now, Wally was paddling around the lake last weekend when Lind spotted something bobbing in the water nearby. At first, Lind thought it was an otter or a large stick. Then the mysterious object hopped on Wally's back. That's when she realized the stick was actually a groundhog. It was, yes, a groundhog. Me and my husband could not believe it. Wally did not care at all. He just looked over his shoulder a couple times and kept swimming Lynn said Wally loves every animal he encounters. The groundhog seemed grateful for the lift and made sure to thank Wally once they got to land. The ground, yes, he saved the groundhog. Now, groundhogs are usually shy, but I just think Wally exudes goodness, and maybe everyone can sense it, and even the animals took him for a ride.
I absolutely love that. And I saw at that point, that's where, like, when they got offshore, the groundhog kind of like jumped off, and they looked at each other, they touched each other's nose, like they gave each other a kiss, and then went on his way. Like, it was, look at that. I think that's adorable.
You know, animals have feelings.
Yeah.
They really do. You read that all the time. You know, octopus has feelings. Lobsters even have feelings. Dogs have feelings. Groundhogs have feelings. Dolphins have feelings. They know what's going on, these animals. Technically, it was a maternity photo shoot to celebrate Amanda and Phil's new baby on the way, but clearly someone else stole the show. As part of the shoot, Amanda and Phil asked photographer Kristen Zaffiro to include their horses, who are part of the family. What they didn't expect, however, was that one of the horses would insert himself into the photos so prominently. But that's exactly what Buckshot did, the horse. Rather than linger in the background with the others, Buckshot happily slided up alongside the happy couple as Zaffiro took the photos. I said, well, you could at least smile. And he did. Yes,
look at that.
Yes, the horse was smiling, knew he was on camera. From there, things just kind of spiraled. When I laughed, he laughed. So the more I laughed, the more the horse acted up. The maternity shoot pretty much became all about Buckshot the horse, but nobody seemed to care. Amanda and Phil loved all the pictures. When I looked through them, I laughed even harder than on that day. If the joy captured in those photos is any indicator of things to come, the growing family's new arrival has plenty of fun and laughs, as long as Buckshot the horse is around.
I want that horse.
You like that horse?
I want that horse. That is hilarious. I want that horse.
I want to see one more picture of Buckshot the horse. There he is.
Not that one.
Which one? That one. Everybody, how do you not love Buckshot the horse, Vanessa?
I love horses, so I love this story.
Thanks for watching. For more Brad Show Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.